Back to another episode of Chef's Kiss. It's me, Peter, from Sheffield Shuffler, with my co-host, John LaLogia. What's up, John?
What's up, fake Kyle
Happy Monday.
Schwarber? Happy Monday, man.
Get a lot of the old Kyle Schwarber. I mean, he's right there. He's right behind me in basically every single one of my videos, hitting an absolute
Let me paint a picture for our audience. Obviously, our millions of listeners are aware of Sheffield Shuffler and Pete's social channels. But Pete got picked up of a piece he did about Dancing on My Own, the Red October song for the Phillies. Barstool Philly picked it up, and then everything in the comments was like, "Hey, this guy, like this is Kyle Schwarber, right? Like we can just be real about it. It's Kyle Schwarber, and he's promoting Barstool Philly. He's like doing a little side gig because you do with the beard, with the Phillies hat, look a lot like Schwarber." And same thing, lefty hitter, lefty power hitter.
Same, exactly. Yeah, like I said, I saw a lot of those comments, and some of them real good. Two of my favorites, I said, great value, Kyle Schwarber. You know, the great value, the off-brand from, that was a quality one. The other one was, you know, like the saying, I want Kyle Schwarber. We have Kyle Schwarber at Barstool. And then that's supposed to be me, like knockoff version. Both very good. So props to everybody that made a Kyle Schwarber joke that was creative. But yeah,
if there's a Barstool softball team and they recruit you, how sick would that be?
I mean, I would definitely play. And the thing too is, John, about that whole company, one of my stripes I have is they are all a bunch of like nerdy or fat sloppy bloggers. None of them are athletes besides the real athletes that they have on the payroll, you know, like the former athletes. There's not one of those guys in the offices that I don't feel that I could post up in basketball. None of them can outperform me in baseball.
Other than Dallas Braden, like you against Carabas or anybody, John Boy,
former players,
of course.
Anyone
Dallas Braden, obviously a former player.
Professionally before, like they're all just little fucking bloggers. You know, talk about sports and we argue, but none of them are athletes or former athletes. You know what I mean? So that's the only thing where it's like, dude, you should get some guys in there who could actually ball still.
And we talked about this before. Even in like a rec league softball, like I play in the Burbs, you can immediately tell if someone played before, like in high school, competitively, college, whatever. Like. Just one swing, or how they catch a fly ball. You know what I mean? Or how they move sometimes how they move. I'm like,
laterally.
Oh, that guy definitely played. You know, or what route they take from a ball, or if they can pick it. You can tell in 2 seconds.
Yes.
Real quick.
If you had just like a semblance of a baseball, or you played at some kind of level, yeah. So that's my only strife with them is get some real athletes in there too. You know, mix it up a little bit so it's not just all nerdy bloggers.
I'm with you, man.
But yeah, was a good weekend. It was
a great weekend.
I was in Chicago this weekend.
Well, thanks for hitting me up, dude.
I was literally there for less than 48 hours.
What were you doing?
Friday. I went to a wedding on Saturday. So I flew in Friday night.
From someone from Naperville?
Yeah. Had a wedding Saturday and then flew out Sunday afternoon. So not long at all.
That's pretty quick.
Yeah, it was real quick.
Was it fun?
I wanted to be home though. I don't like being away from home. I like my schedule, my routine, and
I'm with you on that.
Here. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I totally get it.
But yeah, good weekend as a whole. Like I said, Barstool stuff was pretty cool. That was nice.
That's great, man.
Was on television today. You saw that. That was really cool.
Yeah, was that a local spot?
It was. Yeah, it was Fox 29 Philly. So the Philadelphia sports media takeover has begun. So if you are sick and tired of seeing my face, just get used to it because it's not ending anytime soon. It's going to get a lot
You're like,
worse.
I'm going to be everywhere for Philly sports.
In your face everywhere. Yeah. So just get used to it.
Also,
might be hosting another show on Wednesday too, John. I'll tell you about that.
Well, that's awesome, and we could talk more about that. But like, man, I don't know. The timing was right. Like you came around at just a really good time for Philly sports. Like the Eagles are a juggernaut. The Phillies are awesome. I actually think the Phillies are going to win the World Series. I just feel it. especially with the Rangers beating the Astros. I'm like, we get the Astros out of there.
Right.
Yeah, I definitely get a vibe for sure from.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about
Philly.
the Phillies and that whole postseason because there's a lot of stuff to uncover there. But where are we starting first, Sean? Yeah, where we're starting.
Let's start football. Fantasy-wise, I'm not going to get into it, but I'm starting to come back. Cooper Kupp is finally back and got me like 30 points yesterday, so thank God, finally.
Mm-hmm. He's back.
Let me ask you a question about the Eagles. Hurts obviously did not look great at all yesterday. I'm not super concerned about him, but I did have a question. The Eagles' two-cheek QB sneak, is it good for football? Because I feel like it's kind of bullshit, and from a product standpoint, it's not entertaining. And they converted, I don't know, 85 to 90% of the time. I think it's kind of bullshit, and I don't think it's good for football, and I don't think it's good for the product of football. So that's my take on it. What do you think?
I don't see a problem with it at all. It's a 4th and 1 play. What are you expecting? A spread offense on a 4th and 1? Don't let him get to 4th and 1. There used to be a time where nobody went for it on 4th. It was just like 4th and 2, punt it. And then teams started realizing the numbers, and it's like, hey, we should actually start going for it on 4th and a short yardage. So don't get them in a position where they can do it. And I don't see it. The people are like, they can just run it 4 times and go down the field. No, they can't. This is just a short yardage situation that they're very good at. I don't know why everyone gets all ruffled.
I think it's kind of a cheat code. You know what I mean? You find that one play in Madden for that one player that's unstoppable. But like,
everyone has the ability to run it. We've seen.
Well, they don't. Like, not everyone is as strong as Hurts. Like Hurts, what does he squat, like 600 pounds? That's pretty unusual for a running back. So, not all quarterbacks can do that. I feel like it's just kind of a cheat code, and it's also not fun to watch. Because when you're watching it on TV, you're like, okay, I guess they're just going to bulldoze their way to this first down, and it's boring. It's boring.
I don't see how it's just a 4th down.
I don't like it.
4th and short.
I think it's
okay.
So
if they ran the ball, if they handed it off to a running back who's just awesome, right? If they gave it to Christian McCaffrey, or even if it was just DeAndre Swift,
I'd rather see that. I'd rather McCaffrey get the ball than to see a pile of guys fall into each other. Much rather see Swift or McCaffrey or whoever get a ball in 4th and 1 or some designed play, something cool. But that play, especially when they're going to get it,
it's efficiency.
This is
a little push.
But this is an entertainment product. They're going to change that rule. I bet they outlaw that after the next year. I mean, look at baseball. They changed the rules because ultimately it's an entertainment product. There's changed the rules.
Wrong with it. The job is to get the first down, and they get it every time. So why wouldn't
the job is to entertain, and that play is not entertaining. It is
not, John. The job is not to entertain. The goal
yes, it is. The NFL football is an entertainment. They're in the entertainment business.
I understand.
So is every professional sport.
As a quarterback, as a team, your job
as
is
a head coach, I'd keep running it if it works.
They're not saying, all right, everybody, tonight we're going to entertain. Like, it's to win and lose.
Totally understand that. And if I'm Sirianni, I'm doing it, and I'm doing it relentlessly, especially if it's legal. I think Goodell and other owners or whatever, they take a look at that play and they say, hey, we're going to make a rule change. You can't do that anymore.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that because
I think that's going to happen because as an audience member, as a product, as an entertainment value, it sucks and it's boring. I don't want to see that.
I mean, it doesn't
just
bother
like a
me at all. Even
like
if
a
another
pitcher,
team ran it.
Just like a pitcher intentionally walking someone. I don't need to see the 4 balls. Like, just go to first base.
Okay.
It's the same thing. All right. I think it should be illegal on the record. No more unbeaten teams. Eagles, 49ers lose.
Yeah.
The Niners lost, but I thought Purdy was phenomenal in that last drive. Mm-hmm. Are you getting like Purdy, Kyle Shanahan could be the next? I know they haven't won anything yet. They haven't won a Super Bowl. But do you think they have the potential, the framework, because their defense is so good, to be the next like Brady, Belichick possibly?
So let's talk about this, right? Because there's no more unbeaten teams. So this is what I wanted to talk about real quick about unbeaten teams, and then we can get into Shannahan and Purdy and stuff.
All right.
I don't understand fan bases that freak out when their team loses. A very good juggernaut team, right? Like the 49ers, like the Eagles. Your team's gonna lose. You're not winning 17 games in a row. So I don't understand the mentality of some of these fans that are like, oh my God, they lost. They look terrible. They've won 5 games in a row. They won every single game. John, what year did the Packers win the Super Bowl?
2010.
Was it 29, 2010? How many losses did they have that season?
Quite a few. They got in as a wild card.
Okay, so who did they lose to that season? You don't know.
I don't remember.
You don't care. It doesn't matter who you lose to. They won the Super Bowl that year. That's what everybody remembers. You won the Super Bowl. Not, they lost to Miami in week 4. Nobody gives a shit. It's all about
that. Mahomes talks about that all the time. They go, we don't like. They're like, he was interviewed there the other day. And they're like, are you worried about this offense? Like, these are career lows statistically. He goes, I care about wins. He goes, and the other thing that we focus on, me, Andy, and myself and our team, it's like, we don't care. We'll get ugly wins. I don't care about my stat line. What I really care about is in December, January, we're playing our best football. Because ultimately it's about winning championships. So it's
now, week 6. Yeah, I shouldn't be playing my best football right now, in week 6.
He's like, you didn't throw for 300 yards, Patrick. Like, what's going on with the offense with your receivers? He's like, as long as we're getting wins and moving along, we'll work with them. We're going to develop chemistry. He goes, we need to be like, our focus is Super Bowls. So we're just trying to get wins week in and week out, while getting better chemistry and getting better as a team, where we're peaking at the end of December, early January. Yes. And I was like, that's so smart.
The Diamondbacks won 82 games this year. They just knocked off 2 out of the 3 NL division winners, the Brewers and the Dodgers. Getting hot at the right time. So like
getting hot at the right time.
I'm listening to like the radio for all these Philly guys, and they're just like, there's no consistency. I'm really worried they're not going to be
Phillies are awesome. Good in the future. Eagles are great, man. Hurts had a bad game. It happens, and then you move on.
You're allowed to have bad games, too. Like, you have to understand, like, I get a certain amount of losses this season. Right. I'm not winning 17 games in a row. There's going to be certain games that are better to lose than others. Like, yeah, maybe they didn't want to lose to the Jets, of course, but everybody's allowed to have a bad day. You didn't look good against the Jets. It's a very good defense. And Jalen Hurts had 3 interceptions.
3 picks.
You're not going to win games when you have a 4-0
and he's not going to do that.
He's
going to do that maybe once or twice a year. You know what I mean?
And Jake Elliott's not going to miss that field goal 90% of the time. Sure. He misses that field goal, it completely changes what they can do. So I'm not worried about that. The only difference I see was like the turnover differential from this year to last year. Last year they were at plus 12, and right now they're at minus 1. In regards to turnover differential. So they had a lot more turnovers last year than they are this year. That's the only thing I see.
Phillies radio is just like overreaction Monday, pretty much.
Yes, yeah. And, they're all worried. I'm like, dude, they're going to lose games. You can't think
I watched that game.
17 in a row.
Yeah. I watched that game. They're fine. This morning, Chicago Sports Talk Radio was hilarious because they were talking about the Bears, obviously, and they were like, well, Caleb Williams sucked against Notre Dame. He threw 3 picks. Fields is hurt, has dislocated thumb. Who knows how long he'll be out? They're like, what do we do now? Do we just give up? Like, firing the coach, is that going to do anything? They, don't know what to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't listen to
I know you don't like talking about the Bears. I know it's painful.
Well, no, I'm just saying, it's just like the same. It's like Groundhog Day every freaking Monday where it's like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? You freaking suck. But let's get back to what you were saying about Shannahan and Purdy, right? Go ahead and make your point you were asking.
So I was just thinking. I was thinking about Purdy, and I was thinking about the type of offense, and I was thinking about Shannahan, who is brilliant. He's offensive-minded genius, but also he's got a really good defense, and he's got really great athletes, and he's got a lot of guys that are locked up for a while. And he's also a guy that can make adjustments. Like, he can adapt and make adjustments. I think he's really smart. And I think where football is right now isn't what Brady and Belichick was. It's offensive-minded. And if you don't have a good offense, you're just not going to win. I think the days are over of the 2000 Ravens or the 85 Bears. I think those are maybe one in every 10 to 15 years. But other than that, you better have a kick-ass quarterback and a really potent offense if you're going to win in this type of atmosphere. And I feel like they have it. And I just see Purdy, even they lost yesterday, he made big-time throws to get them in field goal range. And it reminded me of, like, oh, this guy, like, isn't super fun to watch. I'm getting Brady vibes a little bit. Just be like, oh, this guy's just good. And even also, unlike Rodgers, and I'll just be a little critical of Aaron, when things are going well for Aaron, he's the hottest quarterback ever. You cannot stop him. But if shit goes down and someone fumbles or something happens, then it's not so great. And as a fan, you're not feeling as confident. Purdy did not play well at all yesterday. And in spite of that, his last drive, he made some really big key throws under pressure. And I think Shanahan's brilliant, and I think they have so much talent, and I think John Lynch is really, really good in the front office. I see them being – I'm not saying they're going to be the next Belichick or Brady, but if you're going to think about anybody who's going to, like, what's the next head coach quarterback other than Mahomes and Andy Reid that could be really good for a long time? And I think it's them.
Yeah, the only thing I would have a discrepancy in your comparison to those two would be...
It's early, obviously.
Not even that. But for the majority of Tom Brady's career, he threw to nobodies. Okay, besides Gronk, before he turned into Gronk, you have slot receivers like Wes Welker and Danny Amendola, like those guys. You know, you see the amount of touchdowns that Brady has thrown to the amount of people, and it's ridiculous. The names are on there. You're like, who the hell is that guy? So Brock Purdy has explosive playmakers around him. And that's not to take away from anything. Like you said, he throws the ball. He makes very few mistakes, that's your job as a quarterback, not to give the ball, turn the ball over. So he does that very well. The only thing I would say is he has a lot of talent around him.
He has an embarrassment of riches with
the best
Kittle,
running back in the game.
Trent Williams, the best left tackle in football, arguably. Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, Brandon
Ayuk is awesome. And then a defense to boot, dude. The best defense.
A great defense.
One of the best defenses.
He has a ton of talent around him, but I let's say I have faith.
Props, sure.
No, I completely agree. But let's say that those guys move on or whatever. I still think within the system of Shanahan and the drafting of John Lynch and the evaluations of Shanahan, I think you will be surprised. I think they will find guys that you're like, who is that? Not necessarily household name guys. And I think Purdy will play in that system, and I think Shanahan will ultimately be successful. I think he'll be able to plug in pieces. I mean, that was the genius with Belichick. Like, who's Wes Welker? Who is Julian Edelman? Rob Gronkowski? Like, these are nobodies before they came to the Patriots. Nobodies. Right. And I feel like Shanahan can do that, and I feel like John Lynch has a really, really good eye for talent. I really do.
Yeah.
So organizationally, they're strong.
His props, man. It was the first time he lost. I mean, the only person to beat him in a regular season game that he didn't break his, or tear his elbow apart was
tear his UCL or whatever.
PJ Walker. Who had that on their bingo card? PJ Walker
Nobody?
and the Browns. Yeah, nobody. But that's what keeps it exciting, dude. And is anybody on today on San Francisco radio? Oh man, they're in trouble. They got beat up by a backup quarterback.
No, their kicker just missed a field goal.
That's saying that. Yeah,
that's
You're gonna drop games. Games are gonna get dropped. You don't have to. It's not the end of the world.
There are some losses that are bad, like, and you feel bad. Sure. That's a loss that I don't feel bad. Like Purdy. If I'm a San Francisco fan, Purdy did not play well. The team wasn't great. You lose Samuel, you lose McCaffrey, and he still drives with barely any time left, drives you down with an opportunity to win the game. That's the takeaway. Like, that's amazing. For a guy that young to be able to do that on the road, it's pretty good.
On the road again.
So we'll go to baseball at the end, but I'll just stick with football. Should Belichick retire after this year? The Pats are 1-5, and Mac Jones is terrible, and it doesn't look like there's any future there. That was a big miss. Should he retire?
I mean, I'm not going to tell another man what he should or should do. Let me tell you what I think is going to happen. Bill Belichick is not a loser, okay? Like, especially what he's built his name off of and what he's created and, you know, the expectation there that they have in New England. He's not. I don't think he's going to be around for a rebuild. I don't think if you don't have a quarterback, nobody's sold on Mac Jones. We know he's not their quarterback of the future. There's a lot of holes on offense and defense. You know, they can't put up more than 3 points in 2 weeks. Like, it's bad. So I don't know
really
if
bad.
I don't know if he's going to stick around to kind of spearhead a rebuild. I don't know if that's really in his nature to like, hey, I'm going to go through some dark seasons to get to better days. I don't know if it's there. Again, I have no idea what's the man's thinking, but that would be my interpretation. Is this guy's not like the kind of guy who's going to we got to rebuild and then we'll see brighter days. Because I mean, he's old, dude. I mean, I don't know how much time he's got left. Not like he's going to die, but like I'm just saying, you know, 5 more seasons. I mean, he's an older guy.
Do you think he's the greatest NFL coach of all time?
I think he's the most successful head coach of all time. What do you say? Like the best? I mean, most successful.
I think he's the best. As Brady and him have parted ways, it's made a little things clearer. Where to me, the system that Belichick created and his defense, being able to make adjustments defensively, I think is phenomenal. I think he is the best coach. But I also think Tom Brady is an offensive genius. You had a defensive genius in Belichick, you had an offensive genius in Brady. I mean, there would be so many times where Brady would see something. I would see it, and he would check off. I mean, just like death by 1,000 cuts. And he would check off, and it'd be like just a run, but it'd be like 4 yards. Like a play that was like going to be negative 4 yards or a bad play, 3-4 yards. He just was one step ahead of everybody and was accurate and clutch and made big throws. And everyone believed in him. I think Brady made everybody on his team better, not just the offensive guys. I think special teams, and I think defensively. I think guys, knowing that they had him, were like, he got people to play harder. And I think that's a knock on Aaron Rodgers, who's one of my favorite quarterbacks of all time, probably ever. He didn't do that. You know, not everyone was on the Aaron train. There was a select few people, but he didn't lift up an entire team. He was just so unbelievably gifted at throwing the football that it compensated for a lot of stuff, including lack of leadership and some of the the prickliness and teammate
chemistry
fractiousness
and building. I think you see a lot of that in the documentary Man in the Arena. I don't know if you've watched that.
Oh yeah,
it was on ESPN and very much calls men up to a higher standard. This is how this offense works around me, and if you're not on the same page as me, you are not getting the ball. Same thing with Aaron Rodgers. If we're not on the same page and you're dropping passes, I'm not looking your way. I'm not even looking your way. So,
I remember Cobb's. I think it was on Hard Knocks, and Randall Cobb told the wide receivers. He goes if Aaron thinks that you don't even know the play, or he goes if Aaron has any doubt that you don't know where to go and when to be there, he goes, you're not getting the ball. He goes, I'm telling you right now. So. Bury your head in the playbook. And if he audibles, know the checkdowns, know the change of route. He goes if you fuck up once, he will remember, and you might not get the ball for another couple months.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean it's calling, like you said, making players around him better.
Yeah, just setting the standard.
Because, like I said, he played with a bunch of nobodies, and they won so much.
Yeah, it's amazing how much winning he accomplished with the talent that he had. Cowboys Chargers tonight. Who you got?
I will take the Cowboys. Cowboys -1.5.
I think so too. You're going to come back good. After that poor performance last time.
Yeah, good bounce back spot for him. It's looking like the Lions might be a strong contender coming out of the NFC. Obviously, the Eagles, the 49ers, and we'll see what happens to the Cowboys today. But good. Lions, too, man. They come out looking like...
I know. It sucks. I was really hoping that Baker and Tampa, obviously being a Packer fan, hoping that they would lose. Yeah. But their defense is so good. And Ben Johnson, I think, is their offensive coordinator. Dude, he's really good. He really knows how to set Goff up for success. Goff is limited physically. There's some things Goff can't do, and the plays he calls, when he calls them, mixing up the run with play action, with misdirection, and setting Goff up for success. Like, what a match made in heaven. Like, Goff is so successful, but I think it's a lot of credit goes to offensive coordinator Ben Johnson, and we know their defense is really good too. Goff will still throw a couple picks every now and again. What happened?
Just got a score update. Sorry, Rangers are up 4-0 in the top of the second.
Who?
Rangers against Astros.
4-0.
That game started just as it's already 4-0.
I know it started at 3. Someone hit a bomb. Here, I'm looking it up right now. Someone hit a bomb.
Yeah, all 4 runs scored in the first inning on 6 hits.
Simeon scored. Simeon scored on an error. Garcia single to right. Seager scored. Garver single to left. Grossman scored. Lowe single to left. Garcia scored. So just like
speaking
6
of your
hits
death by 1,000 cuts.
6 hits. Jesus.
Yeah.
Dude, they were talking about Valdez. Like, they were worried about him because he was not getting the same movement that he was last year. It's not even close. Like the same two-seam movement. Like he was really successful. That contributed to a no-hitter. They've seen none of that. So they were really concerned about his performance going into this series.
I guess we will find out.
We will find out. Let's transition to baseball. So playoff baseball is here.
Meat and potatoes, yeah.
The meat and potatoes. The D-backs, I could not believe. Well, for a second, I was like, I can't believe they're beating the Dodgers. And then when I looked at the Dodgers starting pitching, I go, D-backs are going to win the series. Yeah, I was like, exactly. Because, like, you think about the Dodgers, you're like, Mookie Betts, Freeman, blah, 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 but you don't realize, you're like, okay, Gonsolin's hurt, Walker Buehler's hurt, Dustin May's hurt. And you're just like, these are their 3 of their top starting pitchers. Who do they have? A 35, 36-year-old Clayton Kershaw, and literally that's it. And, like, I don't know why, but once it dawned on me, I'm like, oh, the D-backs are they're going to beat them. And because of the changed rules, they steal so many bases. Their
second most in baseball.
Their team speed is insane. Not just on the base pass, but in the outfield. Their defense is awesome. And Gallen has been lights out.
Yeah.
And Corbin Carroll, I watch him, I'm like, how is he's like my size and he's hitting bombs deep. And I'm like, how do I get that type of power to transfer to softball? How is that guy that fast and hitting bombs like that? I just don't understand it.
Well, this is a team that you can't take lightly. They won 84 games. They won 84 games.
And I think everyone I think they were consistently underestimated. I think the Cubs underestimated them, and I think a variety of teams have too. And they've come in and they've just out-hustled them. They're faster than them.
2 of the 3 NL division winners. You got 2 stud starting pitchers in Gallen and Kelly, 2 young exciting stars in Corbin Carroll and Moreno, their catcher, and then 2 veterans, Christian Walker and Ketel Marte. One thing I wanted to bring up too, I mean, obviously Evan Longoria is super old. Corbin Carroll is going to be the NL Rookie of the Year. He has a 134 OPS plus. He's batting over 400 in the postseason. 54 stolen bases this year. Second in baseball only to Ronald Acuna. He is fast. Arizona finished second in baseball with 166 stolen bases. Corbin Carroll runs 30.1 feet per second, making him one of the fastest players in baseball in the 99th percentile. Here's something quietly that nobody really talks about unless you are a diehard Diamondbacks fan, and I've yet to meet one of those in my life. Christian Walker silently is just having the really great past 2 seasons. Only 2 other first basemen in baseball have more home runs than him in the past 2 years. Matt Olson and Pete Alonso. He has 69 home runs. Nice. In the last 2 seasons. So Christian Walker, very good. They have a
Major
very
power.
good lineup when you look at it. I'm not a fan of Tommy Pham, Evan Longoria, very old.
Dude, Tommy Pham has been awesome. He's been so good for the Diamondbacks. I know, like, listen, I know he's a douche, and everything you said about his being a teammate and all that stuff, all that is, I totally agree with. But look at his numbers. Like, he's been awesome. Every at bat, he's been really, really good.
Yes,
I'm sure he's not fun.
Hyperbolic
I'm sure he's not fun to play with.
For TV.
But,
you know what I mean? That was a lot of that was hyperbolic for television.
Of course. But it just, I mean, look at his numbers. Even against the Cubs series at the end, and when a lot of the Diamondbacks games that I've watched, he's been awesome. Like, really, really good. So yeah, it's just all clicking. And Lovello's really aggressive too. Like they step on your throat. Like, that's why I think they're really dangerous. They'll take an extra base.
Pads.
Yeah, and the other thing too, which I think is a little scary if you're the Phillies. They're not going to be afraid of the Phillies, I don't think.
No, not when you're a pretty young team, and you're playing with house money almost. Here's something,
It's a little dangerous. If you're a Phillies fan, I'd be a little worried about that. Be like, Diamondbacks, they're coming in. They're like a wild card team. I mean, we're a wild card team.
I wanted to play the Dodgers, yeah.
Yeah, dude.
I think the Dodgers were a much easier opponent.
Diamondbacks, we'll see tonight because it's in Philly tonight, right?
So that's one of the differences, John. So it is 60 degrees right now. It's a blustery day. I was outside earlier.
The weather conditions are going to play a factor.
It's a blustery day. You know what it is in Arizona right now? 99 degrees. 99 degrees. And I'm not saying one team is affected more than the other, but these boys live here and they're from here, so you're a little bit more used to that kind of temperature as opposed to over the last 2 weeks. Maybe you've just been in, L.A. and Arizona, and then Milwaukee's indoors that you played at. So you really haven't played outdoor baseball in a cool climate for too long. So I think that might play a role in some of these, warm-blooded boys from Arizona. The second thing, John, is the base paths and how fast this team is, right? So actually Rob Thompson had a discussion with his pitchers and talked about, we got to give JT a chance. We got to give JT Realmuto a chance because they're going to run. So when we're setting, when we're delivering home, these leg kicks, slide steps, adjustments, they're actually making adjustments because they know in this series – JT's got one of the fastest pop times regardless, but we got to give him every chance to throw these
100%. Dude, Arizona has been one of the most aggressive teams that I've seen in the last couple months. They take the extra base. They are so aggressive. Lovello, again, I don't think this team's going to be intimidated playing in Philly. I think they're going to be excited about it, and I think Lovello wants to step on your throat, and they're so aggressive. As a Philly fan, I would so much rather, like you said, play the Dodgers versus this team where you have 2 studs and you have a lineup that is really good, can hit for power, but the team speed of Arizona would scare the hell out of me if I'm a Philly fan.
Yeah.
But that's good that Thompson is thinking about that. That's like, hey, we got to shorten up here. They're going... with the new rule changes and the bases being bigger and their crazy speed, they're going to run and they're going to run a lot. So we better be ready for it. So that's good. Gallen versus Wheeler tonight. Gallen 2-0 in the playoffs, 3.18 ERA. Wheeler 1-0, 2.08 ERA, 18 Ks. God, Wheeler's been so good. He's been so good.
He's been immaculate in the
he's been amazing.
Postseason.
Yeah. Him and Nola's been good too.
Same thing with the bullpen too. I mean, these are 2 good bullpens, and very, very similar. Also, very similar numbers. Wheeler and Nola versus Gallen and Kelly. If you look at their numbers throughout the season, almost identical. The amount of innings, K percentage, strike, like it's uncanny how
matchups tonight. So lineups: Carroll and Wright for Arizona. Carroll and Wright, Marte at second, Pham DHing, Walker at first, Moreno catching, Gurriel Jr. Dude, that guy's been awesome defensively too. He's made so many catches in left field. Thomas center field, Longoria at third, Perdomo at short for the Phils. Schwarber DHing. Really hasn't done a ton yet, but it's a long series. Turner at short, he's been amazing. Harper at first, amazing. Baum, Scott at second, Real Muto catching, Castellanos and right, been amazing. Marsh in left, and then Rojas in center. So
no Tommy Pham for the Diamondbacks.
No, Pham, but DHing.
Oh, he's DHing. Got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And hitting in the hitting in the 3 spot, dude. He's dangerous. Like if I'm a Philly fan, I don't like Carroll. I don't want to see Carroll. Marte isn't scare me too much. I don't want to see Pham and Walker and
Christian Walker.
Jr.
It's got to be because he has the home run power.
Yeah, because he has power. But Gurriel Jr., dude, like I also don't want to see him either. Everybody else is fine, but like Carroll and Pham and Walker, probably the top 3 that scare me. But if I'm a D-backs fan, Schwarber's always scary because he can just run into one. But Turner, Harper, Real Muto, Castellanos, it's just more guys. It's a better lineup. Philly has a better lineup.
And the thing is
Philly has a better lineup.
If you remember last season, every guy seems to have like their day, right? Castellanos and Harper, they had their days last series. Everyone remembered it. Wow, too great. Schwarber didn't do anything. Marsh, he had
Schwarber hasn't done anything, and I'm looking for
Schwarber
Schwarber in this series to just light it up.
You know it's going to come. You know he's going to hit a towering home run off of somebody.
He's going to run into.
He's not going to be silent that long. He had 40-something home runs this season. You can't tell me during this postseason he's not going to.
He almost had 50.
Yeah.
What do you have? 47, 48 home runs and 46 singles.
Yeah. So you can't tell me that's just going to shut off during the postseason. I refuse to believe that.
All right. So give me your prediction. So
I think Phillies in 6.
Phillies in 6.
Yeah, I think they dropped 2.
I think Phillies win. Although if they lose game 1 tonight, like if Wheeler, who's been amazing, loses at home tonight, that's a huge deal. But Wheeler takes care of business tonight.
Game 1, I think, really sets the tone, John. I'll be honest with you. I know it's a 7-game series, but game 1 sets the tone. And if you're at home, you have to own
with your
it.
pitcher who's been lights out. So like if he loses to Gallen, like if the Diamondbacks steal one in arguably the hardest place to play right now in the playoffs, it's a huge deal. Right, and you're going against a pitcher who's been absolutely lights out, like unhittable.
Who's that pressure go to in Game 2? All the pressure moves to the Phillies now because you just dropped one at home.
100%. But you're right. Schwarber hasn't gotten going yet, too, and you know him. He could get hot. It just takes one for him. He just needs to run into one, and then now you got real problems. Now as a pitcher, you don't get a break because he hits leadoff because you're like. When you pitch, you're like, all right, leadoff guy, just got to get some strikes. But, like, mentally, you don't get a break with this lineup because Schwarber, you're like, all right, like, this guy could take me deep. So
he could be a 4-hitter.
I got to start thinking about this freaking leadoff hitter. Like, all right, am I going to go high and in, or am I going to go breaking ball low or something off speed away? Gallen's probably going to do that, like, work that changeup away or breaking ball down. But again, if you miss to Kyle, he'll hit it a mile.
Make you pay.
Yeah. And it's just you just don't get that from a leadoff hitter.
When the Phillies lost to the Braves, when they let that game slip, when they were up 4-0, I felt okay. Like it stung. It stung that they let that game go, and they were up 4-0, but they had already won the first game on the road. They stole one on the road. It's like that game one is huge, where it's like, hey, we got to go to Atlanta and we got to split. Okay, we can't lose to. They had the opportunity, to take it, but you're almost like, all right, yeah, that sucks, but we did what we needed to do in order to kind of have this still going.
Totally. Last thought on the Diamondbacks Phillies series. You know what the Diamondbacks are giving? They're giving me 2019 National vibes. Now, I obviously know they didn't have like the level of starting pitching like Scherzer or, oh God, what was his name? He was really good from San Diego State. I'm blanking on his name. Who's that really good pitcher of the Nationals? Was there. No.
Strasburg?
But anyway, Strasburg, yes. So I'm getting a lot of 2019 Nationals vibes where it's
burned out for them for that series. Just side note,
he did, but
that's why he's not pitching anymore.
Arizona's so hot. Everyone in their lineup's hitting. Their pitchers are pitching well. Like they're just so hot right now that I think the Phillies should win the World Series. I think they should win this series. I also think if Diamondbacks take this game one, then it's going to get very interesting.
Yeah.
Because, you just might have run into a buzzsaw with the Diamondbacks. They just might get that hot.
Yeah. I mean, and it's the first 7-game series that we've seen this year, obviously, and it's a lot different than a 5-game series. So
absolutely,
there's going to be some things. Here's the thing, too, John, is if they need a fourth starter, the Phillies have one in Taijuan Walker.
Yes.
The Diamondbacks don't.
They don't.
They don't
so
have a fourth option.
Right. If the Diamondbacks, there's little room for error, too. So, if Gallen loses one game or Kelly loses one game, now you're in real trouble.
Yes. You have nobody
and you might not be able to
fourth.
Yeah, you might not be able to overcome that. Maybe in a 7-game series, if you can extend it and one of those guys can go on 3 days rest, that's the only way. But this game one is huge. Tonight is huge. And especially because it's in Philly. So if you're the Diamondbacks and you beat Philly tonight, you've beaten their number one pitcher, who's been absolutely lights out, and you beat him at home, and you beat him in the toughest place to play. So I think Phillies need to come out and make a statement here, and I think they will, because I think there's a couple guys in their lineup that haven't really got it going. Like Schwarber has really not gotten going, and he can get super hot real quick.
Bro, don't underestimate Brandon Marsh, Alec Boehm, Bryson
Boehm is
Stott
clutch, too. How many postseason hits does Boehm have? So
not
many.
a lot, dude. I'm just saying, last series, you saw him pissed off.
Not last series, but last year.
Ground out to first. Sure. I mean, he's a very good hitter. I mean, that's why he's hitting 4 spot, dude. He's hitting in the 4.
And the other thing, too, with the Phillies, experience. They've been there.
Yep.
They've been there last year. That makes a huge, huge difference. Where some of the Diamondbacks players tonight in that crowd might be freaking out, be like, "Oh my God," you know what I mean?
Soaking it in, yeah. It's go time, John. What's your prediction? Let's play this game. Let's play the tonight's going to be the blank game. I'll give you an example. I think tonight is going to be or last series. Tonight's going to be the Castellanos game where he hit 2 home runs, and you know what I mean. So maybe an X factor or a prediction or someone who's going to have the game.
Yeah. I think Gallen. I think Schwarber's a bad matchup for Gallen.
Yeah.
If he's not really sharp, if he hangs a changeup or one of his breaking balls, and he doesn't throw hard enough where he's going to blow it past Kyle, like Kyle hit his fastball. If he's not careful, I feel like Schwarber is due. I think Wheeler's going to continue to dominate. I think he's just. I saw him pitch last time. I was like, he looks locked in. He's just kind of in that mode where he's just going to be really good. I'm not saying the Phillies are going to win, but I think Schwarber gets hot. Just because Gallen is really tough on righties too.
Sure. I think Trey Turner. I'm going to go ahead and say Trey Turner.
There's so many good players in their lineup.
His postseason OPS 1.455 is just absolutely ridiculous. And you've seen the arc from the beginning of the season. He had a 687 OPS in the first half, a 902 OPS in the second half.
Yeah.
And like I said, to date, 1.455 OPS in the postseason. I think that continues. And as much as you say that the Diamondbacks like to run, so do the Phillies. And that's where they put on pressure on the Braves last series and where they found success. Stealing second, stealing third, putting pressure, making Trey Turner hasn't been caught stealing all season, right? He had 30-something stolen bases, caught 0 times. So in order to apply pressure to a young team who hasn't been in this position before to start feeling some pressure, having that home crowd behind you, I think Trey Turner, Trey Nasty, Trey Shiesty is going to have a game tonight.
Yeah, it should be a good one. I mean, Phillies have a better lineup, but D-backs are so hot right now.
Phillies
D-backs
in 6.
lose this game. Yeah, D-backs lose this game. It could be the beginning of the end for them. But I think the Phils probably pull it out. I think their lineup is better, and I think particularly more than anything, I think Wheeler's just really locked in.
Yeah, gotta be locked in.
Like another level, like Josh Beckett, 2003. Like he's just so locked in. It's the best I've seen him pitch in a while.
Josh Beckett, man, he was
Josh
so
Beckett,
cool.
03 Marlins. Or
Okay.
Kurt Schilling, 2001 Diamondbacks.
A lot of people.
I think Wheeler's really, really locked in. I think this is. You're talking about who's going to be the game. I think this is a Wheeler game where he's like 7 strong and just maybe case 10. He's just phenomenal.
Wheels up at 8:07, guys. Let's get this podcast out so people can listen to it and listen to it before the game like they usually do. So.
Of course.
Have a great night tonight, John. Maybe dual screens with a little football and a little baseball, but definitely my big screen
doing that.
is going to be the Phils. So, all right.
Cool, buddy. Go Phils,
Catch
man.
you on the flippity flop. Go Phils.
See ya,
Thanks
buddy.
for watching and listening. We love you all.
Peace.